All right, guys, an exciting one today, the new SIG 365X macro. All right, guys, so the new 365X macro, I believe, is going to be one of the hottest selling pistols of this year. Everybody loves the 365 line, all the options that it has, their various sizes and things. So this is no doubt going to be a big one. Should be. I'm down here at Target Shooting Solutions again. They got this on the range for a rental. So they let me use it today for this video, and I appreciate them for that. So let's talk about this thing. Let's talk about some of the rumors, and let's talk about where this thing could be going in the future, and if maybe you would want to carry this and trade out of a 365 XL or another 365 that you currently have for this. Would it be worth it for you? All right, so no doubt recently you've seen all the big channels post about this new gun and some comparisons between the two, but let's try to take a little bit of a deeper dive and talk about some specifics, but also let's just take a look at these things first side by side. So it is going to be the same slide as the 365 XL, so if you've lived under a rock and you're not with it with the past week or so, it's the same size slide as a 365 XL. However, what they're doing is, like the Spectre Comp did, they've used the 365 size or 365X barrel and left the slide and did the built-in comp. So the barrel does not come to the end. The barrel stops here and the comp is cut into the slide. So you're getting that little bit of a compensated effect, which you might like to keep shots down. While the Spectre Comp was cool, but I thought too expensive for what it was it had this, but it also had a gold barrel and gold trigger, and they said like an upgraded trigger. But for the extra, $600, $500, depending, I just didn't see it worth it for the built-in comp and the gold stuff. I didn't need the gold stuff on the carry gun, so I was like, I don't really need that, even though it was cool. So they bring this out, and I'm glad I waited, because now they got the 17 round mag. So again, if you didn't know, this holds 17 rounds from the factory. So 17 rounds in the almost breaching mid-size or smaller mid-size carry gun, still in that micro form, just with the longer grip, is just amazing. I mean, 17 rounds in something this size is just crazy. So yeah, of course the grip is going to be a little longer, but if you're carrying appendix, that's going to get sucked up by your midsection. And even if you're carrying on like your hip or your 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever, you're not going to get a whole lot of printing from this, because it is not as large as some of the other mid-size or full-size grips. They've also carried over the optics ready, of course, but they added the feature, as they've been doing recently, where the side plate is cut in front of the rear sights, so you do not lose the rear sight capability when you're running the red dot, which a lot of people didn't like on the 365 XL and X, where you lost your rear sight. So now moving forward, they've been doing that more often. Let's talk about grip comparison. So this obviously is going to be longer than the standard XL. You're getting those additional 5 rounds in the mag. So another thing I want to talk about that I really love about the macro as compared to the XL is the mag release. The mag release on this is a little more pronounced, and it has a little more texture, a little more aggressive texture than the standard XL does. So I found at times that this mag release was sometimes, because it was so flush, I've seen people have a little trouble manipulating that and they couldn't get their finger on it right, whereas this is just a little more pronounced and has that texture. So whereas this sits a little more flush, I feel like, than this one, it's just cut a little different to be able to actuate that just a little more. So I think that is a nice feature there. We'll also talk about the beaver tail on the macro. The beaver tail on the macro is slightly larger and sets up just a little higher than the standard 365 XL. So what you're getting out of that is you're getting just a little bit more room in your hand for guys who get slide bite with them meaty hands, and it also sits just a little lower down in your hand when you're holding it than the regular 365 XL. So you're getting a little bit more control, I feel like, holding it in your hand as compared to the XL, where it sits just ever so slightly higher extra of a beaver tail there to give you that little bit more of a comfort and less likely to get slide bite. The rail on the gun, which it should have done from the beginning. Those proprietary rail systems are garbage. It limits you to everything. But what it does do is it creates a need in the aftermarket. So there's a lot of companies that do a lot of things for guns like the XL and just the standard X's and just the regular 365 line. There's a lot of things that people were doing to customize these, and there's been a lot of companies that I've covered on my Instagram and some on YouTube that make some really cool items for the 365 XLs, and I've seen them post. They're already working on aftermarket parts for these, and we'll talk a little bit about that now. So let's talk about mags. This is the new 17 round mag. This is going to fit in your standard 365X or 365XL with that larger frame. But this is what you get. You get a gap in the bottom, obviously, where the grip on the macro is larger. So you get this. Now I can guarantee you, this will be eliminated in the aftermarket by companies who specialize in 365 platform upgrades. So at some point, who knows when, 10 years from now, when SIG finally releases these for purchase separately, you will have the ability to buy this 17 round mag, and if you want to keep your XL, be able to throw it in here and have a company that will make a piece, a sleeve that fills this gap to give you, if you have a larger hand, to give you that coverage there. So again, the aftermarket is going to be primed with stuff with this. All right, so the new X Macro mag in the standard 365. Let's see if it runs. Continuing our conversation on mags, this mag is out of a 320 X Compact carry version. So this is a 15 round magazine. And people were saying, oh, they're just going to use 320 mags, and it fits. They made it to fit inside the new macro. Well, let's try it. Does not fit. 320 mags do not fit in this gun. The only mags that are going to work in this gun are the macro mags, which are backwards compatible with the standard 365, just longer. I know somebody's going to ask me, so let's do it real quick. This is the 12 round mag out of just the standard XL. It will not fit in here. The grip is too long for this to make it all the way up. So your standard 365 12 round mags will not fit in the macro. So the last thing mag related I'm going to talk about, and I forgot my standard 15 round mag for the 365 XL, but if you have a 15 rounder for your XL or X, it's going to be very close, roughly. I can't show you here because I forgot it, but it's going to be just about, if not the same size grip as the macro. So if you run a 15 rounder in your XL or X, the grip length is going to be just about, if not the same, as this grip here. So if you're familiar with what that feels like, you know what that feels like with a 15 rounder, it's going to be very similar to the feel of this gun in your hand, given that extra length. Something to note about these 17 round mags is that just like the standard 12 round mags out of your XLs, these are hard to load when you get towards the bottom. So like the standard 12s are pretty stiff. Got up to like 14, 15. These became very hard to push down. I did not need a mag loader, but it did take a considerable amount of force to load those last couple rounds in. One of the benefits to mag guts, if you have an XL or an X or 365, you've probably heard the name mag guts. The benefit to what mag guts did was, since they redesigned the spring, it compacted differently. So that's how they were able to squeeze a couple extra rounds out of the standard 12 round mags to make them 14. So I'm going to pretty much bet money that companies like MagGuts or others are going to come up with a plan to do the same thing here, because the spring in here stops here. So that's why you're getting that 17 rounds. Everything here down is spring. And since the spring is still that coil type of setup, it's all sitting right down in there. So that leaves room if companies are going to do it, and I'm telling you they're going to. I know they're going to make an extension for this to give you like an extra 2, maybe 3 rounds out of this mag. So I cannot believe, and it's going to be crazy, to get a 20 round capacity mag out of a factory 17 rounder and be able to run it in this gun. It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's innovative, and I love the way things are going with stuff like this, because you just never would have thought a gun this size and smaller, in this category, would be able to have a capacity like this. It's crazy. All right, quick back-to-back. XL versus the macro in muzzle flip. I don't know if you could see there on camera, but just in the hand, it felt way more tame. I know it's only a 9, but it felt more tame to shoot this directly back-to-back. So I always thought the XL was a really tame gun to shoot, nowhere near as snappy as, say, the Hellcat. That's just why I went with the 365 over the Hellcat way back when. But this is noticeably different as far as keeping it down just straight away. Now, I don't have perfect grip, I don't have perfect form, I'm not a professional shooter. However, it is a noticeable difference. Not sure if it's going to translate on camera, but it feels a lot flatter to shoot than the standard XL. All right, guys, so let's talk about it. Is this gun for you? Is this something that you would trade out of an XL for this gun? I think that decision's got to be yours. I mean, eventually, probably fairly soon, you'll be able to buy these grip modules. Obviously, since this line of gun is modular with the trigger pack, being able to move from grip to grip, if you have an XL and just want the bigger grip to have the 17 round factory mags, then no, I would say you don't need to buy this gun. However, there's something to be said about the new, right? The new, right? People try to be cool, they want the newest, greatest thing. See people comment online, big guys will say like, you don't need the newest thing, stick with one thing and, perfect it, right? Great, something to be definitely said about that. However, I'm somebody I identify as like an early adopter, right? I like to try new things. I like to see what works, what could be better, what could be improved upon. So for me, I would get out of my current XL for this because I like the built-in comp. I like having the rear sight backups with running a red dot. The bigger grip, again, I have like a medium-sized hand, so the bigger grip doesn't really mean a lot to me. It's neither here nor there because I'm fine with the standard XL grip. But having that 17 rounds as opposed to the 12 or 14 if you ran mag guts is just, again, it's more. More is better. If you need it, you don't want to shortchange yourself, God forbid. So, and then moving forward, companies that are going to trick these out and be able to, customize it the way you want it and be able to even get more capacity out of this gun. Again, you could use that in the XL. So all that could be moot for you. But I like the whole package as it is. I like the slide cuts. I like the integrated rear sights. I like the slightly taller and extended beaver tail to get that little bit of a better or a lower grip in your hand. The ergos of the grip itself, you can see, are slightly different. You get more of an area here for your thumb rest. The mag release is better. I just think totally overall, obviously given the pick rail, overall this is a better gun than the XL. So if you have an XL and you want this, just trade in your XL. Give you some money towards it. I think you'd be good to go. I don't think you'd be disappointed with this gun, but if you're trying to be as compact as possible and don't want that longer grip, well, then maybe it's not the one for you. Make that decision on your own, but I'm telling you, this is something that is, I think, great for the market. great for concealed carry, great as an option. And believe me, again, SIG did not send me this for review. Just my impression is that it is a really flat shooting, and it's just a nice package gun. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget Steve MP5 on the Instagrams. I'll see you next time.